Well, welcome back everyone to Mark on Motoring. Today I'm going to be doing an oil change on the Megane. Now, it was only done a couple of thousand miles ago, but that was actually around a year ago now, so I thought it was only fitting that we replace what's in there and put new filters on. So what I'm doing currently is I'm leaving the car to warm up, so while I'm doing that I thought it was a great opportunity for a cup of tea. Now, I think that should be done shortly. I feel like I might be forgetting something though. Oh yeah. That's more like it. So now that we're properly attired and without spilling my tea nonetheless, we'll get the car moved forward. Everything's warmed through now. I'm not going to bother with the ramps. I'll use the jack because there's not much clearance under the front of there. And once we've got it on some axle stands, you'll join me again where we'll proceed to start dropping the oil out. And make sure we get that proper jacking point, because on the other side of the car somebody's actually hit the somebody's actually crushed the sill on the other side of the car, jacking it up in the wrong place. So having got the car now jacked up, I've left the jack under one side, but we've got the axle stands on the chassis rails there, and I'll just show you, this is the area where the sump plug is. So last time I tried to do this I got more oil on the driveway and up my sleeve than what I did actually in the container. So put down some old bits of paper and cardboard just as a backup measure. We've also got a proper container this time to catch the oil, which has this little funnel at the edge, so then we can put that into another container to be disposed of properly. Also got gloves, very important, and I've got my sump plug key, and in this case it's a 19mm spanner that slips over there to release that. So now that the engine's warmed up, that oil should run out a lot easier, but the trick is with this is to undo the sump plug, and then the idea being if you open the filler cap on top, that should allow air to come through and it should run freer. That said, last time I did this, before I'd even touched the top cap, as soon as I cracked the sump plug open, the whole thing just came gushing out. I know I shouldn't have eaten all those Christmas chocolates. So well, that actually wasn't too bad. Let that run a bit. I think I'm going to need to find another pair of gloves, and then we'll take the top cap off. Now I'll just crack this one off, which should allow a little bit of air through. Just help the last bits drain out. Now, due to the height of the car, it's difficult for me to get the camera in a good position for you to see what's happening here. But all I'm doing is wiping off any excess oil that's collected around the sump when I've removed the sump plug. Now, I've actually got the sump plug washer here with my genuine Renault oil filter, which we'll be using a little bit later. So what I'm going to do now is I actually replaced this sump plug the last time, so that's actually a fairly new plug. So I'm going to reuse that again. Just make sure I've got the orientation correct on that washer with the groove side against the back of the sump plug head. Put our new washer back in and put that one back in place. Just hand tight. What I'm going to do next is actually going to get the correct torque settings and fasten that up, and what it'll do is it'll compress that copper washer and hopefully then it won't leak. So after consulting the manual, the correct torque setting for the oil drain plug on this vehicle is 15 to 25 newton meters, or around 15 to 18 foot-pounds. So for this I've got my trusty torque wrench, which is a 3/8 drive, and I've got a 3/8 drive 19mm deep socket because I need that to clear the head on the sump plug key to get to the hex bolt part. So we're going at around 20 newton meters, which is halfway between the range. Now the shallow sockets are a little too shallow, and incidentally the deep sockets are probably a little bit too much on the deep side, but we'll have to make the best of what we can here. So it's not a lot of torque, so we'll just, as it starts to tighten, I'm just going to go nice and gently and listen for that click. There we go. I don't want to risk going any more than that because we don't want to pull the threads out of a sump because, well, then potentially we need a new sump. Despite being a fairly popular engine in its day and in some Dachas since, yeah, I really don't want to have to go looking for a new oil sump for a car that'll be 25 years old very, very soon. Right, just give that a quick wipe over again, just make sure that's all clear. Next we'll turn our attention to the oil filter. Now just for clarity here, I am not a trained mechanic. This is just basically a DIYer doing an oil change on his own vehicle. I am going as much as possible off the Haynes manual, but this is merely you observing what I'm doing. I'm by no means saying that this is exactly how you should do the job yourself. So the next job is to remove this oil filter, which is actually on there pretty tight, so we're going to need the aid of our filter remover tool. And to be honest, it doesn't give... This engine has quite good access, but the oil filter is a little bit recessed there, so it's quite a challenge to actually get in. And no sooner than you move it a little bit, you have to readjust the tool again. There are other tools available, but I've yet to find one that I actually prefer. I would have liked one that I could have put onto a torque wrench for fastening up, but unfortunately I haven't been able to find a suitable one as of yet. Oh, that's seems to be really on there. So there's probably a reason why they tell you to use a proper oil filter removal tool and not just hammer a screwdriver through. Now I've tried the tool and it didn't work this time, so I resorted to banging a screwdriver through, and this is what happens when you do that. So we've got an oil filter that is still stuck in place, and camera's probably not picking it up, but now we've got oil dripping out of the filter all down the front there. Nice. Yes! Oh. How not to remove an oil filter. Oh, watch that sharp now. Oh, thank goodness. We managed to turn our oil filter into a tea strainer. Better get that one thrown out. Just clear some of that debris. My goodness. Take our new genuine Renault oil filter. Oh yeah. Look at that. Beautiful. Now I'm going to pre-fill the filter a little, but I'm not going to put too much because, as you can see, the filter is actually mounted on its side, so if we go putting too much in there, it's all just going to spill out again. So I'm also just going to put a little bit around that seal as well. So we've got that tightened up, any residue cleaned away. Right, let's start putting some oil in. So engine oil for the 1.6 K7M, 4 litres, or thereabouts. Of course, the tidy way of doing this would be to use a funnel, but unsurprisingly I'm not doing that. Now we've got 5 litres of oil here, so stands to reason we leave 1 litre left in the bottle. That should be somewhere about right. And this is 10 watt 40, which is the correct grade for this vehicle. To be on its side, it should come out a little more gentle. Oh, look at that, beautiful. So right there, a useful guide on the side of this container here, so we can see how much we've gone in. So it's actually about 2 litres that's gone in there, so a couple more litres should do us. Go around 1 litre, and I'll check on dipstick. Now the car's not perfectly on the level, so it'll be a rough guide. Because once it's had a chance to settle and the car's back on the ground, I'll check the level again as well. Showing just over 1 litre left, so we'll have a look at that. Still settling, it's not as easy to see when the oil's clean, but that looks to be about right on the dipstick. Check underneath as well, just make sure there's nothing coming out at the bottom. This is made a little more difficult by the fact that some oafers hammered a screwdriver through an oil filter and allowed oil to run all down underneath. So I think we'll leave it at that. I'm going to clear away this old oil now. I've got a container I can pour that into, and hopefully without spilling it everywhere. I'm going to get the car back on the ground, and I will see you in the next video. As always, if you have any comments, please do drop us something in there. Don't forget to give the video a like, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because there'll be a lot more to come.